that I am in my year of DNFing books, I'm not sure why finishing books is really a priority for me, but I don't really like loose strings, and if I don't have the books that I've already started but haven't finished on my mind, they literally will be forgotten, and this list is just going to get longer and longer. So in that vein, I wanted to just put them all here and really discuss what books I'm willing to read and willing to essentially finish because they have been on my mind, some of them, for years. The first book is The Happy Place. I started it last year when I was on holiday, but the holiday didn't really shape up in the right way to let me really enjoy the book. I also heard that the book is a little bit sad, which didn't really make me super enthused to pick it back up as well. I don't really believe that I like reading rom-coms. It's something I've come to terms with, which is kind of antithetical to perhaps wanting to finish this, but I think that I liked beach read enough to give this another go. I also quite like second chance romances. They bring the right level of angst and pining and desperation that I like in my love stories. Though, since this isn't actually a romance, in that it isn't a drama, but a more light-hearted story, erring on the side of comedy, like a rom-com type thing, I feel like it's probably going to rely on miscommunication when it comes to a second chance romance in ways that I don't really like. But Emily Henry, in my opinion, has cute, endearing, and real down in a way that a lot of her contemporaries do not. Plus the basic ass graphic design of her books has me a little hooked. So I'm gonna give Miss Henry one last try before I really put all of her books down. Next I have Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I started this, I think, in my first year of university. I began reading this years ago before any of its sequels were really out yet. And whilst I was very intrigued by the concept of the book, I never really made it a priority. I've also restarted this several times. It's my go-to buffer book. If I've finished a book but I haven't decided on what to read next, this is the book that I lean on to read. But I forget what happens in the parts that I've read before. I start from the beginning and then the cycle just begins again. I've never really been in a mood to pick this up and focus on it, but I will, okay? I want to be part of this conversation, so I will be. I really like this type of fiction, so it's not like I'm really forcing myself to read it. The straightforwardness of Japanese fiction is always really enthralling to me and reminds me that writing doesn't have to always be one singular way. And there's a million sequels now. I want to be part of the conversation. I had some absolutely audacious goals in the autumn of 2022 to read The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings, rewatch the movies and watch the new Rings of Power show. This all kind of came to a halt when the show was said to be quite bad, and I suddenly felt like I perhaps bitten off more than I could feasibly chew. I liked The Hobbit. I think it's a really good children's story, and I truly believe that it's kind of the pinnacle of the type of story a parent should read to their kids before they go to sleep. Reading The Hobbit, I think, also definitely helped me keep the dream of finishing the series alive. I already love the world, I like Tolkien's writing, but Lord of the Rings itself is much denser than The Hobbit, and that has me a little bit more scared to read it. And I say this as someone who took 9 years to read her copy of The Hobbit, so I'm being lenient with myself on whether I finish this, this year or even soon. But once again, finishing this is also about being part of the team, so I think I will give myself the chance to read this over a longer period of time. A YouTuber I quite like recommended This Is How You Lose the Time More eons ago. So I got it, I test drove it for about 10 pages, put it down, and decided I needed to get my driving license first. It's been 4 years, I can drive now. Badly may I add. Yeah, thank you. So I think it's just time to really dust this off and read this. I have a renewed interest in it since everyone and their mum's read it now, plus for all of the reasons I liked it originally. It's sci-fi, lesbians, POC author, war, along with my newer preference for a bit of a shorter book. So I think I'll have this one done by the end of the summer. It's very intriguing, and I love the cover. Now, Kitchen Confidential. I thought I'd finished it when I read it, but apparently I have 5 chapters left, which is quite a lot, honestly, for that book. I read this because I love stories about restaurants, the tense atmosphere, the heightened sense of panic, a personal love for eating. This all culminates in a story catering to me, pun intended. The bear always comes around every sort of summer to reinvigorate my passion for restaurants, so when season 3 of that comes out, I think I will be back on my Anthony Bourdain stan bullshit. I love Anthony Bourdain. So I'm really excited to finish this, I guess, since I didn't. Rest in peace, King. I don't think you would have massively liked The Bear. I picked up My Brilliant Friend casually to read when I worked in the library, so I never really properly checked it out and read it at home. I just used to flick through it and read the first 5 to 10 pages, and I thought those pages were written very well and it had a cool enough vibe that I wanted to give it another go. Additionally, I'm very interested in how it's a lot of people's favourite book. Like that's such high praise for anything really. And so I need to be on the scene and I want to be figuring out why it's so many people's favourite book. At the end of last year, my poetry ambitions were quite lofty. I had faith in my own source and a reverence for poetry, but both Devotions by Mary Oliver and Butterfly's Burden by Mahmoud Darwish are quite long, and I'm going to give Serious Concerns by Wendy Cope and some other shorter collections a go before I think I'm going to tackle this again. I'm a long time Mahmoud Darwish admirer, so it's quite overdue that I've read a whole collection. Like I did a whole essay on one poem that he wrote in my like second year of university, and I got a really good mark and the professor thought it was really good. So in that vein, I think I definitely want to read that book, but maybe not now. So the last book on this list is Chalice of the Gods. I haven't read any of it at this point, but since this video is actually inspired by a series I need to finish video, I thought I'd add in a book in a series that I finished but haven't completed. I read all of Percy Jackson in 2014 when I was at 12, but this came out last year and me and my best friend plan on reading it together. So hopefully we make good on our promise and finish this off by maybe the end of the year. I don't know when we'll actually get around to it. So those are all of the books that I plan on finishing. When will I finish them? Maybe in 2024, hopefully in 2024, but some of them I'm just like a little bit, you know, I don't know if I'm gonna actually do that. I will give myself a little bit more leeway with some of them, especially like Lord of the Rings, because there's like a lot of it and it's dense and I don't actually own a copy or anything, so it's not like prominently in my life right now. So I wanted to make this video generally just because I wanted to get them all out of my mind and verbalized into the world. So that's what the video is for. It's for keeping myself accountable in a year where I'm planning on not actually finishing everything I want to. So again, if I decide at one point in reading these books I actually don't want to finish them, that's part of the year that I've created for myself, but at the same time, you know, I don't want them to fall off my radar just because I haven't like picked them back up or anything. So yeah, tell me if you have a certain book that you want to finish but you just like haven't committed to. I feel like some books you don't commit to because they're really good or like you think they're gonna be really good, but some books you just like forget about. And those are the ones that like really have you on edge because you're like, oh, I did start reading that, but like, will I finish it? But yeah, tell me. Like the video if you liked it, and I hope you have a great week. Thank you for watching. Bye.